Greetings to all of you watching today's International News Bulletin. The United States is entering a period of highly volatile weather as a large-scale storm system continues to develop along both the east and west coasts and is expected to trigger a series of dangerous weather events over the next 7 days. The atmospheric picture across the continent shows the simultaneous appearance of three major factors: intense thunderstorms, widespread flooding risk, and the return of cold air along with early season snowfall. All of these are combining to create a complex weather scenario that requires tens of millions of residents to heighten their vigilance starting today. Ladies and gentlemen, the first storm system we need to mention is the strong low-pressure area currently moving across Nebraska and Iowa. This is the factor that is triggering instability in the atmosphere across the Midwest, causing states such as Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri to face the risk of storms this afternoon. Even though the region is only categorized at a lower alert level, the nature of systems like this means they can generate sudden severe phenomena, particularly damaging winds and large hail. What is notable is that morning thunderstorm clusters are moving quickly, creating gaps that allow the atmosphere to heat up again. When both moisture and temperature increase simultaneously in a short period, conditions become favorable for a few isolated but strong thunderstorms, known as supercells, to form. These supercells are capable of producing small-scale tornadoes that may occur between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. along the boundary between southern Illinois and western Kentucky. Although the probability is not high, the possibility of 1 or 2 tornadoes does remain if conditions align at the right moment. While the central United States is experiencing this atmospheric instability, the West Coast is preparing for a major storm coming from the Pacific Ocean into California. This system is transporting a significant amount of moisture into the southwest, causing states such as Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico to record increased storm activity, even including the possibility of weak tornadoes in parts of southern Arizona, a rare occurrence for desert regions. This moisture will then continue moving into the central United States, feeding into the chain of severe weather patterns expected in the coming days. Beginning Wednesday, the threat from the low-pressure system will shift southward. Texas and Oklahoma will become the center of the next dangerous weather phase. Forecast models indicate the potential for strong thunderstorms accompanied by damaging winds and hail. In particular, the area around Dallas-Fort Worth must be closely monitored due to increasing instability by late afternoon. Although Wednesday is not forecast to be the peak day, it still carries the potential for damage if strong winds develop within isolated thunderstorm cells. However, ladies and gentlemen, according to expert analyses, Thursday is expected to be the most concerning day of the week. At that time, 2 major moisture streams, one from the Gulf of Mexico and one from the Pacific, will converge over Texas and Oklahoma. This combination typically creates an explosive environment: high humidity, light low-level rotation, and strong temperature contrast between atmospheric layers. When these three factors align, the likelihood of strong thunderstorms, frequent lightning, damaging winds, and large hail increases rapidly. The states of Arkansas, Texas, and Oklahoma will be the areas requiring the highest level of caution, especially during Thursday daytime and into the evening. The risk of tornadoes in this region is considered possible, especially when thunderstorms form in isolated modes and are fueled by abundant moisture from both sides. By Thursday night into Friday morning, the system will move eastward, producing scattered strong storms in Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, and Arkansas. As it enters the Ohio Valley on Friday, the system will begin to weaken, but may still bring significant rainfall that disrupts travel, particularly in major cities such as Nashville and Louisville. From Saturday morning through Sunday, the storm moves toward the East Coast and brings widespread rain to the Mid-Atlantic region, including Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. This will be the tail end of the system, but still capable of generating prolonged rainfall, slowing drainage, and increasing the risk of minor flooding in low-lying areas. Ladies and gentlemen, there is another issue that requires special attention: the possibility of a new storm system developing early next week. The European model, which is often highly sensitive to atmospheric strengthening signals, has repeatedly suggested a scenario involving a strong storm entering the southern plains. Meanwhile, the American GFS model does not entirely agree. Some model runs show no system forming, while others indicate that it may develop but several days later. This disagreement leaves next week's scenario uncertain, but should a new storm form, the risk of heavy rain and severe storms would once again rise across Texas and surrounding states. Beyond thunderstorms, temperatures are also a major focus in the coming days. Currently, much of the United States is warmer than average, but from the end of this week into next week, forecast models consistently show one trend. Cold air from Canada may surge southward strongly around Thanksgiving. States such as Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and the Great Lakes region may enter a period of significantly lower than average temperatures. If this pattern unfolds as forecast, the potential for early season snowfall will increase in the northern Midwest and mountainous areas of the Appalachians. Some models even suggest that the cold air pattern could persist into early December, followed by additional strong storm systems, pulling more cold air south from Canada. Regarding rainfall, models warn that the central and southern plains will receive the heaviest precipitation over the next 72 hours. Widespread totals of 25 to 75 mm are expected, with some localized areas in Texas, Oklahoma, and Missouri reaching 120 to 150 mm. Prolonged heavy rain like this always carries a high risk of flash flooding, especially near rivers or sloped terrain. In the latter half of next week, if the second storm system forms, rainfall in the southern United States may increase further, placing additional pressure on urban drainage systems. With consecutive days of heavy rain, urban flooding and localized inundation are highly possible. Ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that the United States must prepare for a series of dangerous and uncertain weather patterns over the next 7 to 10 days. From severe storms, tornadoes, and large hail, to flooding rains, cold air, and the possibility of snow, everything lies ahead. Residents in affected areas should closely follow guidance from meteorological agencies, prepare safety plans, and limit travel during periods of hazardous weather. This concludes today's news bulletin. We will continue providing updates on the approaching storm systems and cold air masses moving toward the United States. Thank you for your time, and we wish all of you safety throughout this turbulent weather period.